Welcome to Channel 17, the Town of Colonie Government Channel.
Hello and welcome to The Money Factor. I'm Richard Naylor, your host. Well, unemployment figures have gotten a lot of news, and it is up somewhat in this area, almost 3% over the last 3 years. In the context of the Luther Forest Global Foundries development, we have a lack of workers. And add to that, a recent article in the Times Union mentioned that if the convention center is built, we'll even be in worse shape. Our guests today are Jennifer Everleth. She's a geotechnical engineer, that's a mouthful, from CHA, formerly Clough Harbour Associates, and Brendan Manning, he's education director for the Associated General Contractors of New York, state chapter. I want to welcome you both to the show, Brendan and Jennifer.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Well, we're talking about a mentoring program, and I thought let's start with the name of it and how it got started, and then we can talk about what it does.
Sure. We're here to talk about the ACE Mentor Program. ACE stands for Architecture, Construction, and Engineering. It's a program that started back in the early to mid-90s in New York City. A number of engineers and contractors, construction managers, were just good friends, got together for lunch and decided that we needed a joint mentoring program. A lot of the industry seems to do mentoring on their own. They might bring students in, especially interns during the summers. But they decided this industry is a group approach. All these industries work together to create a final project. And it was something they decided to come together as a team. And
to solve a problem.
Exactly, and to start recruiting more students to our industry, to introduce them to the careers and potentially moving them to those college majors or looking at the industry.
So it's not a new problem at all. If it started in the mid-90s, we're still looking at similar situations.
Yes, it's something that we, as an industry, I think we've always been dealing with. The industry keeps growing and growing, and as everyone can see, infrastructure is a critical part of that. We see that with the stimulus package and ongoing, not only infrastructure, but building infrastructure. Our hospitals, our schools are constantly growing, and this is an industry that isn't going to be shipped off to another country anytime soon. If you have to build, you have to build, and it's something that needs to be done here in the States.
I guess the follow-up question is, what does this program do today, and how does it work?
Well, the program itself, the way it works here is we do recruiting for both mentors, which are people in the industry, as well as recruiting from the schools. We reach out through guidance counselors, teachers, technology teachers, and find students that might be interested in, as I said, architecture, engineering, or construction. Students that not necessarily on the trades side of things, but could be more professional careers that will go on to college. But it's something that as we reach out to the mentors, the firms, we reach out from a higher level, reach out to the principals and owners, show them obviously there's a critical importance, and it's always at the top of their list. Recruiting's the top. They can't find the right people, enough people. So it's something that we, as mentors, will reach out, and I usually help in the Capital Region area to reach out to the schools to get the students involved.
It strikes me that this is an old problem. You just said mid-90s for this particular program. Mm-hmm. And yet we don't seem to learn very quickly. We talk about the need to create jobs, and yet some part of our society, we're just not getting this message.
Yeah, I think that's something we, especially as our industry, we struggle with. It's an image factor as well. When it comes from a trades level, especially in the field, not many students want to do field construction work anymore. It's the hands-on aspect of it. Students want computers, students want technology. They don't understand there's a lot of technology in the field nowadays. Everything, bulldozers to a computer equipment, everything's driven by GPS now. Students have to learn mapping technologies to operate bulldozers because they need to grade at a certain level. There's technology in the geo side. There's technology everywhere, and students can get a better aspect of that and take a look at our industry.
So you must try to match the kids. Of course, you're trying to interest them, but is there a way to match somebody who maybe has a math propensity or an ability with this, because you mentioned before the show that high schools now actually teach calculus, and when I was growing up in high school, they did not. It wasn't until I got to college that calculus was a possibility. So how do you reach out and try to get people? I mean, can you go to people who just have a propensity but don't know it?
Yeah, that's the main aspect of the program, I think, is to show them a little bit about the industry. I don't want to say we're going to, in one school year, that we're going to dive into the details of our industry. We're bringing them to the program to inform them about the different career choices and how they work together. I think that if the students see one or another, especially from an architecture standpoint, you need the art background. Engineering, a lot of math skills. Construction management, again, is probably a lot of math skills, but very interpersonal. You need to be able to relate with not only people in the field, but you need to relate with owners and with the rest of the team. So it's a combination. So that we think there's a route for every student in our three industries, and it's just a matter of finding the right niche and finding what they like. And if they decide after a few sessions, this isn't what I want to do, that's fine as well. It's something that we think is important. Those students might sit on town boards someday, but it might understand the aspects of construction, what really goes into a new road in their town or in their community.
How can we help people see what's exciting about some of these things? Architecture, in a way, seems maybe the most sophisticated in terms of the image. Some famous architects we can talk about, Le Corbusier or Pai, they have big names. Engineers, though, who can we point to that has a name like that?
Well, I'll turn to the engineer.
I think we get the students excited by our part. First, I should explain that our part of the program is we actually bring the students in for 3 sessions during the school year, and they get to meet with different types of engineers. So I think we get the students excited by they actually can see that there are different types of engineers. Us being a multidisciplinary engineering firm, they know now that there's electrical engineers, mechanical engineers, geotechnical engineers, and so they're exposed to those different disciplines and some of the projects we work on, and it gets them excited. If we're excited, they're excited.
That sounds like it should work. If you see a problem, especially an interesting problem, it makes you say, well, I want to help, or I want to know more about that.
Oh, definitely. When we meet with the students, we give them an actual project we've worked on. One example is we took a set of plans from a college, and the college was looking to expand their athletics fields. And so we knew the budget that the college had, and we knew what they were looking for, so we gave the students a set of plans and said, here's some templates. Here, put some softball fields, soccer fields, and run with it, but you got to stay within the budget, and you got to make sure you don't put the softball field by the library so you're not breaking windows. And we let them run with it, and then we got to show them at the end what we actually provided to the client to meet their budget, to meet their goals, and compared our project to what the students came up with. And so that was really exciting to see.
I can see that it would be exciting. They would see something being done. It wouldn't be an abstraction, or you might not think of it in terms of telling somebody else what to do or planning, but you can really see the end product.
Exactly.
So what is the interest there in CHA? Why are you involved?
These students are our future. I know that the demographics of our industry is people are aging out of engineering, and we're looking for younger engineers that need to fill those open positions in the upcoming years.
Let's talk a little bit about the image again. You really hit on something I think pretty interesting. Once you get the student at a CHA or another firm that's involved in this, and they start seeing what's going on, you've got a pretty good chance of having them be more interested. But that's like, once you've gotten them that far, you've really made a lot of progress. Mm-hmm. How do you get their attention in the first place?
Well, again, outreach from different perspectives. We try to reach out through the schools by talking to guidance counselors. When the student starts to, if the guidance counselor early on hears that a student is interested in the industry, I hope that guidance counselor will turn their name over, and let them know about the program. So we need to stay in front of the guidance counselors, as well as I had mentioned, technology teachers. I think teachers are critical. That if teachers learn more about the program, they get closer to the students than the guidance counselors probably do, so they can help recommend the program and reach out to us, and we can let them know. It usually starts at the beginning of the school year and wraps up by May. So it is a full year. It's a commitment if the students can make every session. I think the real draw to the students, and hopefully a lot of times this will be word of mouth. We see a lot of schools will become involved. We have some great advocates at North Colonie and at some other schools around the area that reach out to the students, and word of mouth spreads. The students tell the kids, this is what we did. We designed a new aquatics program at Clough Harbour. We got to work on satellite imagery. So there's different aspects they learn. And I think the students really get into that. They know it's not, when they come to the meetings, it's not a classroom lecture. It's more of a hands-on aspect, which we understand as an industry. You can't just lecture to high school students when they're getting that all day. They need something different. They need something exciting. So that's what we do.
Right, otherwise they won't hear you.
Exactly.
Now parents have a role, I would imagine. I don't know at what age the schools become stronger in terms of their influence, but a lot of families, maybe they have a history. Maybe their family has engineers, or we were mentioning judges. And so there's a tradition in that family to go into that trade, and yet we don't have enough in this area. So then clearly we haven't had enough, and we don't have enough parents who are thinking, well, my family's been engineers for 30, 40 years, or 6 generations, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So how do you reach the parents?
I think it's a combination of hopefully materials that will come from the schools, that the students will bring home from the schools. We try to reach out word of mouth and hopefully get outreach through newspapers and magazines and TV, and hope that information spreads. I mean, I think the most critical part of a parent being a parent is introducing your kids to different careers and showing them different options. You obviously need to let them make the final choice. That's something that's going to make them happy for the rest of their lives. But I think having programs like this will help at least give them some guidance. As I said, they spend 2 or 3 sessions and say, Mom, Dad, this isn't for me. I think that's important. They took the initiative, they sat through it and realized, maybe I want to be an English major or something, I do something different. That's important. Not to mention, I always look at it from the standpoint of a parent spending $100,000 on an education in college that, they might decide, let's learn early enough, and I think it helps everyone.
I think probably getting the word out, yes, should really help, because there must be a lot of people out there who are just being practical and saying, okay, what can the kid do, and how can he make a good living? And if they don't think about this and think that this has had a dearth of people most of the time, with a few exceptions, I think. There have been a few periods where there were an excess of engineers. But generally, that's a shorter amount of time, and we don't see it going forward, do we?
Well, I think from an engineering standpoint, I think the need is constantly there. There's a flux in periods of time when there was a recession, and obviously there's stimulus work going on now, so a lot of the trades are busy. Some of that work had already been designed, I think, from a standpoint, but I think the need is always going to be there. As I said, as obviously the population increases, those needs are always going to be there. It's not going to disappear anytime soon. There'll always be some up and down periods where the need is not as big as other times, but I think we've grown as the company, basically the nation has grown large enough that we need those engineers for the infrastructure, as I mentioned. And you can read in every paper every day how the bridges and roads have to be replaced, and those things that are constantly ongoing. That I think there's always going to be that need.
I wanted to just ask about the female-male ratios and bias there. It used to always be that girls, quote unquote, weren't good at math, and there aren't as many women engineers. I think you may have mentioned to me before the show, while architects seem even. Any other comments? How can we interest more women? Are they being interested these days?
I see it in our company that a lot of the younger engineers, it's no longer male-dominated. It's more females coming into the industry, both in the geotechnical field that I'm in and some of the other fields. So we would love to see more girls be interested in the program.
When you went to college, what was it like then?
There were not many females in my program that I was in, but that is definitely changing because I went to school locally, and I see that the graduates coming out of the college that I graduated from locally, there's a good number of females.
So maybe that message is getting out.
I think it is. I think it's as we talked about math and science skills, I think people are starting to point, as you said, more ladies into the program, understanding that you're just as able to handle math and science as any male in the industry is. Obviously, it's a big differential we still see in the trades. The building trades are different. It's a little, I want to say less than 15% of the industry are women in the outside trades world.
Still 1 in 8, that's not much.
Yeah, and that's something that needs to change and is slowly changing. It's starting to move into apprenticeship programs, reaching out to women and minorities. And as I had mentioned earlier, this industry is turning to technology. There aren't many people anymore that swing a hammer and even shovel anymore. It's usually done by equipment. Nail guns are powered. You're not using the strength anymore.
We need fewer people doing that.
Yeah, but it turns into a situation where you've got heavy equipment that's all computer-based. A diesel technician nowadays has to have a college degree because the manuals for repairing this equipment that's all technology-driven is a college-level reading. It's something that, it's almost a 4-year degree now for technology and diesel sciences. So things are changing, and there's more opportunity for women in the industry.
How about colleges? Is it difficult to find a college that you can afford that also teaches engineering? Obviously, Purdue is, it's a great engineering school, and they're known for that. And we probably, is Cornell also? Do they do engineering also?
Yes, Cornell actually has architecture and engineering. There's all different programs throughout the country and just even locally. Hudson Valley Community College has has 2 great 2-year programs, both engineering. I believe there's a design program as well, but there's engineering and there's construction technology. Both degrees you can either end with the 2-year associates or continue on. There's a lot of great connections with 2-year to 4-year colleges like SUNY Delhi. You can transfer in from Hudson Valley to a Delhi. You can now get a 4-year degree in construction management from Delhi. Schools throughout the state. Clarkson has a great engineering program, civil and construction technology background. SUNY Buffalo, Syracuse, SUNY Alfred. Alfred has a wonderful construction management program.
So you're naming a lot. There are a lot of schools.
There are. It's a matter of just doing some research and looking into different schools, and they're all affordable. Any of the SUNY schools especially have that ability, and obviously the community colleges as well.
And your program targets mostly high school students?
Yes. We start from freshman right through senior. We don't see as many freshmen because it's more direct program to go into college. So we'll see older students, juniors, seniors, but it's open to all ages.
And yet you mentioned that there are high school classes that might make a difference here.
Yeah.
So freshmen, it wouldn't be a bad idea if a parent or a freshman is wondering what they should do.
Mm-hmm. To make those selections, yeah, if they want to contact us and take a look at the program. As I had mentioned, they're not going to stick around the entire school year. At least they get a gist of some of the ideas of the industry, and we can give them some direction.
Could we think about a few examples of people that have done this? Anybody locally come to mind?
We've had, as CHA, an intern who's actually been through 2 years of the program, and we were able to bring him on as an intern, and he's now left us and gone off to college. So we've only been part of the program for 5 or 6 years, so we're just starting to see students who are involved as freshmen through seniors starting to get into college and start their career. So we're excited to see where they take things after being through the program and at CHA for the 3 sessions that they've been.
So this person, it was
yes,
a he.
It was.
Could you describe how it worked with that person? They take us from how he found out about it, if possible, on to getting to.
I'm assuming that his guidance counselor.
Yeah,
probably
he learned probably from school, directly from school. And from there, once he got involved with the program, he took the initiative. And I think all of the companies that are involved in the capital region have all offered assistance, whether it's co-ops or internships, and Clough Harbour took the initiative at that point.
Yeah. A lot of the mentors, not only do we have the hands-on activities, but we get to talk to the students either while they're doing their hands-on activities, we can chit-chat with them a little bit, and that's where some of the other information comes out that we try to give them about what do you have to do to be licensed in either engineer or architecture, how much work experience do you need before you can take your licensing exams and things of that nature. So we get a little time to give them a little more than just a hands-on activity, a little bit of the background of how we got to where we are.
And what project did that person work on? Do you recall?
Multiple projects. I mean, as an intern, they have the ability to work on some go out in the field with some of our older staffs, more seasoned staff on drilling projects, or to do a dam site safety inspection or something like that, to tag along and see what we do every day. So
That's pretty neat.
yeah.
Yeah.
Any examples that you can think of?
We have some examples of students, not only specifically to the industry, but one particular gentleman is actually took ACE in New Jersey. He graduated from the program, I'd say about 7-8 years ago, out of New York City when they spun off that program. He has since graduated and is 2 years into working for an architecture firm in Rochester, New York. He actually took the initiative to reach out to his principals at the firm to say, this is a program, I don't know if you've heard about it, showed him some more about the program and said, let's start a chapter in Rochester. And he's actually taken the initiative, at this point, I'd say 23-year-olds, to get his firm involved in Rochester, and in turn has drawn companies from around Rochester to start a chapter there. It's a great initiative. We see it in different aspects. I keep in touch with one young lady who actually decided not specifically to go to the industry, but decided to actually come back to school as a technology teacher. Actually has gone back on to get her master's at SUNY Geneseo, which has a specific program for technology teachers.
So the process itself became interesting.
Yeah, and I think that initiated the fact that she wanted to do that, but she loved to teach, so she decided to stay in the technology route and at the same time go on to teach. And I think she's in her first year of her master's degree, so she'll be out in a couple of years teaching.
That's marvelous. I think it's so interesting how things fit together. You can think of maybe you're a poet or you feel artistically inclined, and so you don't think about things like engineering and architecture. And yet, if you read a history of architecture, suddenly you're thrown into maybe the building blocks of a different kind of poem, and now it's a building block of a poem of stone.
Sure.
So it seems like you could really turn your mind around a little bit and find that you can get interested in this.
Yeah, as I had mentioned, a lot of different aspects between the art aspect in architecture to the math and sciences on engineering and outreach as a construction manager. I think there's a lot of different options.
How many companies locally are in this program, and could you use more?
Sure.
Stupid question.
Yeah, well, we currently have 5 companies. We're always looking for more mentoring firms to get involved, and you'll see that initiative. And Clough Harbour has the intern now, coming out of high school after 2 years in the program. Everyone knows if you get a student in as an intern in co-op, one of their first places they look is back at that internship, especially if they liked the firm. They understand the firm, they become comfortable with the firm. So Clough Harbour might have the first chance at that student graduating. That's something that I think everyone sees to do internships with. But the firms involved here in the capital region in Albany currently, and we're recruiting more firms. From an owner's aspect, we have the Dormitory Authority of New York State, or DASNY.
And they're involved in an awful lot of work.
Yeah, they do a lot of work throughout the entire state of New York, a lot in New York City, but everywhere. They handle a lot of financing, but they also have a construction division. So they're involved as an owner. We bring the students in and they teach them about what owners need and want and the budgets that they can hold, and they work from that aspect. From an architecture standpoint, the firm Einhorn, Yaffe and Prescott, who has offices throughout the country and the world, they're involved as well from an architecture standpoint. We have a few different engineering firms. One is Stantec and CHA. They both help out and they cover different aspects of engineering. And from a construction standpoint, Turner Construction.
That's a huge company.
They're considered the largest general contractor in the world.
Well, that's okay.
They have offices right here in Albany, which cover all of upstate. They're probably one of the largest offices and corporate headquarters for the states is in New York City. So there's outreach there from different aspects. And Turner's taken an initiative nationally that their foundation has actually given money to the scholarship program of ACE and will participate in every city that they have an office. So
That's kind of a voting with your money kind of a thing with these companies of saying, yes, this is something that's important, and it's important enough that we're going to put money into it, and it benefits everybody. Is it something that a smaller company can afford to do, be a mentor?
Oh, definitely. For us, I mean, the cost to us is pizza and soda.
Okay.
And so...
and I guess your time.
Your time.
And our time. And yeah, we're happy to share with students what we've been through, what we do every day. We're excited about what we do, so we want them to be excited.
And that probably reflects well on the company. You mentioned that a person who's gone through this may want to go back to that company, and because the company's already demonstrated that it cares about
sure.
The world.
Yeah, and then the name recognition is there. As I mentioned, the students get to know these names. They're spending, 3 sessions at every office, so they're going to get to know the name, they understand. And hopefully, as this process progresses, the mentors that are coming back every session, the students are forging relationships with them, and they'll start to give them direction. And it's always an option. They graduate, and they can look at a Turner or CHA, or they're comfortable, as I said. It's a name recognition. So the industry sees it. It goes. I think it's twofold. It's everybody benefits from it.
I want to kind of ask you guys, how did you get involved in this process, or in the program?
Well, it was something that my organization, the AGC of New York, is a statewide organization representing general contractors. Turner is a member of ours. It's something that we got involved with from a New York City perspective. Some of our members had been approached when it started back in the 90s and got involved. And like any organization, not-for-profit, they started a board of directors. My boss, who's the CEO of the organization, was asked to sit on the board. And it just kind of grew from there. And he wanted to make sure that the outreach was there. We grew it through upstate New York. And he asked me to kind of step in and take some leadership initiative to grow the program.
And so if a company thought they might be interested in doing this, they could reach out to you for...
Yeah, they could reach out to me directly. We're located right here in Albany. I cover the entire state, but you can go through our website. My contact information is on the ACE website, which is acementor.org. That's just one word.
Okay.
And it's, again, .org because it's a not-for-profit.
Right. We'll put that up on the screen.
Sure. And they basically can reach through there, click on the New York State affiliate, and click on Upstate New York, and my contact information will pop right up.
Okay. And how about you? How did you get...
When I joined CHA, there was a senior principal who was involved in the program and, of course, extremely busy, and so was asked to help out, and being a little younger, being able to communicate with the students, and the first year I just got hooked and have been ever since.
So how long have you been doing it?
This will be the 4th year.
Great.
So.
And that, I guess you were saying before that you really need buy-in from management, top management, to make this work. Otherwise, they wonder who's that kid in your office, right?
Yeah.
And not only management. In our company, I help out, but I'm not necessarily the one doing the 3 sessions with the students. So we actually have other volunteers within the company. Maybe somebody who's involved in wind energy takes one of the sessions. Somebody else in our sports group takes another session. So we actually try to get as many people involved. Our IT department, who does a lot of modeling and graphics, we have them involved. So
I mean, you mentioned then wind energy. This is it should also attract some of the people who want to help with some of the global problems that we have. Yeah,
that's a big part of it. And we've tried to, through the program, we've tried to initiate some goals when we do it with the students. We try to make sure we bring in green building technology, talk about the ability to use solar panels and how to design in a way that's more environmentally friendly. And that's something that, if nothing else, the kids pick up on and appreciate much quicker than I think more adults, seasoned adults who have been in an area saying, that technology won't work, that won't work. The students are on board right away, and they think it's something that they need to look at closer. And I'm glad they do, because it points us in the right direction in a program. So. Any closing comments? We're about out of time, but I wonder if I asked all the questions that we need. We let them know how to reach you. Say that again. Sure. It's www.acementor.org. acementor.org. It's ACEMENTOR.
And you want them to call or,
Yes.
or contact you.
Reach out to us, whether you're a firm or a parent who has more questions or a student who has more questions. I'm always reachable. You can leave me a message. I can always get back to you. I'm at the office, and I travel quite a bit, but I can always get back to you if any questions you have.
Jennifer, any closing words?
Just for any students or parents who are watching, I've had the opportunity to go to all 5 companies to see their presentations. So students, you will not be bored.
Beautiful.
That you get a chance to go outside and survey. You get to go to a construction site. There's a site visit that's involved. I don't think any of one session that you go to, you will be bored. So.
And it's cheaper than piano lessons.
It's pizza and soda for us. And
Free
to the
pizza and soda, and it's something that you can learn more about, and it's I think it's you take a chance at it and see if you like it, and it's something that you're not going to lose any money trying out and seeing what you want to do.
Well, Jennifer, Brendan, I want to thank you for being on the show.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Good luck with this.
Thank you.
And I want to thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the show, that you tune in again next time, and that you have a great week. Take care.
Welcome to Channel 17, the Town of Colonie Government Channel.